This is a very nice point for black next. If white doesn't answer, black may invade here or here. Both of these are working, so it's very big for white to answer, but black has made an efficient territory. So white doesn't really want to allow that to black. So they wanted to disrupt this plan. So they test black to see what they're going to answer to this move. So black really has maybe even 5 choices. They could play here, they could play here, they could play here, they could play here, or they could play here. Let's start with the ones in the corner first. Later, black may just play either Joseki now, but later black is essentially required to answer this move with a connection. If they play here, black gets this Atari too. So this is clearly, if white were to play this now, black would more likely cut. So it's unlikely that allowing white to Atari here is good for black. So normally you should just connect here. But even so, white has made a nice light shape in black's area here. This is, so it's not very bad for black, but it's a bit submissive. You've answered white's move with something that gives them lots of choices later, or even they can just play like this and settle on this side. So in a modern high Komi game, that's just a bit slack. Black needs to put more pressure on white than that answer. And really the same applies to pulling back here. It's not forceful enough. White has pushed you back without paying any penalty. So it's only a very minor loss, but certainly it wouldn't be popular with professionals entirely recently. Minson, you'll tell me if I'm going wrong somewhere.
Okay. Well, mostly right.
Yeah, okay.
Mostly right.
I mean, perfectly, yeah.
So these 2 answers are the most common, and for a long time this had been considered the correct answer. And white will cross-cut now. And then if black just takes like this, again, white has pushed black down. Those forcing exchanges can be considered good for white. Black's corner has been reduced to as small as you could reasonably expect to keep it. Later on, white can connect and make points here or something. And it's hard for black to surround these stones on a large scale later. So because of that, what black plays to make this stone heavy. And they push, so white has to rescue these 2 stones now. They've become important. Black doesn't want this to be sente. If they play here now, white could take this stone. If they play this one, this block would be sente. So black pushes once more. White continues to gain liberties. And then black defends. So this has been considered the standard pattern and was played a lot, perhaps 10 years ago. And then white would come back here. Black answers, white jumps. But the general thinking now is that white is reasonably happy with this result. White is thick, and black's corners aren't huge. Later on, when white plays here, black can't take this stone, because if so, white can push out here, and at least maybe black can play here, but then you've been reduced to taking these stones off the board. So black will need to play this one. So this corner's not that big. So, but let's look at the alternative and why was it rejected? So the thinking was, okay, if black plays this one, white now plays here, black answers, white plays this one. And the idea is that this space extension looks too narrow for black, because black has only got to make a one space extension, which feels too solid in the opening. But the current thinking is that, and also it was hard for black to tanuki, because they thought that this move is good for white, because white can take a lot of points. They fix all their weaknesses in here, and still they can cut black here when they choose. So this was deemed not so good. This move was painful. So if black plays here, their extension is too small. But if they play somewhere else, then white has a nice move here to follow up. And that was the classic take on this position. But the current thinking on both of those points has changed. So now the assessment is, well, it looks big to play in the corner, but it's not actually urgent. Black can answer here. And now, if white plays again on the second line, then this is a lot different. Black has pushed white down more than if they got to come up here immediately. That's enough to, and black is stronger in the center with 3 stones versus 2 stones, so there's no cut here. So this is enough of a gain. But if white comes into the corner, well, black can think about this one. This looks possible. So if white just answers, this black turn here is very big. After this, white needs a move here. Now, if white considers this as sente, they could imagine living like this, but then black's gotten quite thick. And if they take here, for example, now white is thin enough that black has significant agi to aim at in white's position. So this move has been reevaluated as being quite adequate for black. So black can consider to play elsewhere now in this position after white plays this Joseki.